one of the major benefits is like, I literally haven't paid taxes in years. I make more money now and over the last several years than I did before. I don't pay any taxes. The cash flow is a must where co-living, even in a better market like in Arizona, as opposed to a Mississippi, you're still cash flowing. Obviously in your scenario, thousands of dollars a month per property, and you get the appreciation. That's why you don't want to buy those Section 8 rentals in Alabama, Mississippi, whatever, where years of cash flow can just evaporate with one bad tenant. And you didn't even mention another great part, which is the debt pay down, which just happens over time as well. So you're really focused on tax benefits, cash flow for financial freedom, and the wealth benefits from appreciation debt pay down. This is why real estate is awesome compared to any other asset class. Nothing else lets you do this.
Yeah, I wanted, this is going to sound kind of dumb, but I wanted an asset that had enough value to offset that tax burden, right? So that's why Arizona fit, say this real quick, Arizona fit for taxes, but also landlord friendly laws. Property taxes are relatively cheap. My insurance is relatively cheap. So it just fit all the buckets. It checked all the boxes. But I want to back up. I started with strategy. So I'm a little weird. Like in the sub two community and some of the other communities, they go out and they find the deal and then they find the exit strategy. I flip the script. I'm a backwards thinker, right? So my goal is X. I want to come back. What's going to get me there? And just work my way backwards. And then that way I can get to where I'm going because I started with that in mind. So my thought process there was, all right, I originally actually was looking at the traveling nurses. I was looking at Texas and Florida and Arizona for the same reasons, you know, landlord friendly, all that good stuff. But in 2030, it's expected the traveling nurses will be exhausted and then I'd be screwed. So the best one there was co-living. So that's why I looked into co-living. And originally I was like, man, I really don't want to do this. It sounds hokey. So I went to a couple RIA meetups and I met some people and I met some tenants or members, I should say, that were members of the houses. And they were telling the community, the investors that, hey, man, this is great that this is out there. One guy was crying and I was like, dude, I'm on board. So that for me, to me, it was a win. Not only was it good cash flow and it fit my buy box appreciation, blah, blah, all that stuff, but it was a win-win.
And I love what you just said there. Like, actually, that is so amazing that I've never even thought of that. Like members, because right, we had a training with Blake Lewis about pad split. That was the last one. She went in very detail about it. She's my rep person I work with. And she talked about, right, it's not tenants, it's members. Technically, the pad split model is members, not tenants. Pad splits are tenant. But bringing the members in, or if they even attend these events, to share how impactful it is for them, that is incredible because I say it all the time, right? People deserve to live in the communities that they serve. It is so unfortunate that like affordable housing now does not just mean housing homeless veterans, like homeless people. It's not Section 8 rentals. It is so much broader because income has literally not inflated the way every single other thing has inflated. So people cannot even afford to live literally around where they work. And it is so sad. Affordable housing has a whole different meaning now. It's literally just providing that option for people who want to live closer to their work in a nice area of town, whatever, who don't really care about having exclusive space. Or yeah, I mean, they have their bedroom, right? But they don't mind coexisting in a home and allowing them to live there. Like, I just love everything you're saying right now.
My strategy was co-living. I thought, hey, look, this is going to fit the box. But I knew that I didn't, with the prices in the house cost of properties in Arizona, you know, you're looking at over 400. And so with the room model, you're looking about 200 per room a week. So let's say $864 a month per room. It wasn't going to service the debt. So I had to add bedroom, but I didn't want to add bedrooms in such a way that I hacked up the house to where I could never sell it. And I'm stuck in that strategy. So what I decided to do was network with a bunch of people, talk to a bunch of different contractors, and just simply add walls. Nothing major. Even the master bedroom, I didn't like redesign the bathroom. All I did was add a hallway. If the layout worked for it, that way that master bedroom can be accessible to the rest of the house. In that space, the reason I hit 8 bedrooms is where I come out.
I love what you said there too, because really a lot of people are like, I'm going to renovate this house. I'm going to turn it into a Frankenstein home, slumlord status. I'll never be able to offload it. Well, first of all, the majority of us who are doing it well, we are adding non-load bearing walls, literally a couple studs, a little bit of framing, maybe do a little bit of electrical, put a few outlets in there, drywall, mud it, tape it, paint it, furnish it. Add that is not very expensive. To remove that is not very expensive. And because you've created a business, you can also offload this as a business to someone else in the future too. True. So you have investor exit. We also can just bring it back to a normal house as long as you don't get too insane with your remodeling. Yeah. But adding non-load bearing walls, that's exactly my shtick as well.
I've seen people add second kitchens and blow out bathrooms and do all this stuff. And I'm like, one, that's a huge cost. And two, it doesn't fit my strategy.
That's how you get a red flag when you try to sell it. An inspector comes, if they audit it, you know, the appraiser, they say, wait a minute, this is supposed to be 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but now it's 3-bath. What unpermitted work did you do there? That's why I really advocate to not add bathrooms. Like that's ideally the last thing I want to add. That's why minimum I need 2 or 3 bathrooms.
But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Not that I'm saying that I'm going to exit. I just would like to have that ability if things go completely south on me, or who knows, kind of a pilot person. I wanted to see, hey, is this going to work? So what I decided to do was I bought the first property as a primary, and I I actually lived there for 8 months. Luckily, I have remote work, so I could do that kind of thing. And then I did take a break there. But so I lived there. I actually ran it for 2 months of the first year I bought it as an Airbnb for tax purposes. And then January 1st of 2024, flipped it over to a co-living. I ran it as a pilot for 3 months. I know that's not very long, but it was enough for me to figure out really fast. With Pad Split, they filled it in 12 days. And right off, man, it took off. Like, I was like, holy crap, because I had holding costs for months, right? I'm pretty conservative.
When was that purchase?
August of 2023.
August 2023, you bought it, you short-term rented it. I know the reason. You wanted to leverage a cost segregation study, accelerated depreciation, get a bunch of tax benefits that year. You just need to set it up that way, and then you can roll it over, convert it to your ideal strategy the next year. I'm skipping past that, not because it's not a great strategy for you guys, but because co-living, short-term rentals, whatever, I'm not a huge fan. Co-living, you basically started around January timeframe.
January 1st.
And you were pretty much first tenant within a week. And then you had it basically fill roughly how long after?
12 days.
Oh, it was full in 12 days.
It was full in 12 days. Now, that's not normal because Arizona, it was a new market for Pad Split, and they were dumping a lot of marketing power in there. And so at the time, I think I was the 8th or single digit Pad Split. And I just figured, you know what, let's go for it. And so I went down there, lived there, talked to network people, but I ran it as a pilot. It was successful. I thought, well, hell, man, this is working. So month 3, I was already kind of half-assed looking for properties. There's a whole other story here, but I had the second house I had under contract twice. I got my second one, brought it up. It took a little bit long.
When was that? Roughly
March.
Okay. Wow. So just like you got it,
March.
You executed, said, all right, it's time for another one.
Yeah, it was like mid-March, we bought the second one, and then April, we bought the third one.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I was bringing up 2 houses at the same time because one was under construction, but luckily they're 1/8 of a mile apart. I shifted because when I came on board, they filled it right away, and I was looking to buy another. The first house I bought was in Glendale, Arizona. And because the buy bought, it was lower 4s. It was a relatively I won't say inexpensive, but it was good bang for the buck. It's a nice enough area. I'm not buying an A class or B plus, but it's like a B minus C plus area. Good enough. I felt safe. It was a big house. Worked at the layout work. Boom, did that. I was going to buy another one in that area because I'm very much I like to stay in one area and economies of scale. I don't want to be all over the country and all that stuff. I want to stick in one area. Well, I mean, if the deals were there, I mean, a lot of people, like I said earlier, will look for the deals and then match the exit strategy. I was doing it the other way around. I was
just kidding because there is so much value in what you're saying. And I talk like not only for the sake of starting, like it's really hard if you're trying to start in 5 different markets. What you did was you identified a market, you reverse engineered what you wanted to do and what made sense for that. You connected with people who are doing it. Like all these are valuable lessons. And the more centralized you are, especially starting out, the better it is. That's what I did too, honestly. I started in my local market looking for small multifamily. For when I started house hacking, all that, it's like small multifamily in my local market. That's what then allowed me to get comfortable buying multiple markets, different strategies. So I say that in jest because whatever I'm doing now is not where I started. I don't even recommend anyone to start the way I am. You can do a few key markets, but really because Pad Split makes it like easier, like you said, they throw so much marketing money into it. They make it easier to fill your room. I would definitely not start in multiple markets if you're planning to like self-manage, that's going to be extremely difficult and overwhelming. But what you just said is literally the blueprint.